Hey, and welcome to the latest video blog. I noticed that things are slowing down a little bit on YouTube in terms of questions here to the video blog because I think it's, getting close to summer and people are outside doing more things, playing baseball, lots of activities outside. So if you have a moment and you want to get a question through, the best way to do it is go to Facebook. It's Motormouth Canada. You can ask a bit of a longer question there, and you're more than welcome to get a question through to the video blog here. So it's good to hear from everybody and good to get feedback. And of course, the video channel is up and running, Motormouth Canada, and watch all the latest videos there. All right, let's get into the very first question. It comes from Gerlin Locke. It says, out of curiosity, what kind of mileage would you typically say a German car like a Volkswagen Golf or an Audi A4 will have until its upkeep it's not worth it? Well, it all comes down to how the car is maintained. If you continue to maintain a car properly over many, many years, there's going to be some years where you're going to have bigger repair bills and others where you're not. And what I always say to people who have, especially German cars out of warranty, budget between $1,500 and $2,000 a year for maintenance and repairs. And if you average that over the lifespan of the car, that's about right. Now, often people will say, well, I need to get a new car because this one's costing me a little bit of money to maintain it, but it can be false economy because when you go and you get a new car, say I'll pick a Golf or an A4, you maybe at $30,000 plus tax, then the insurance is going to be higher, and then you're paying interest on that money, where if you just look at keeping an older car running, sometimes it's better economy. Now, when does an average car go to the wreckers in Canada? This is information I got from Dennis DeRosier, Canada's leading auto analyst, and he tells me their studies are showing cars are going to the wreckers at an average of 300,000 kilometers. So a car that's got 120 to 150,000 kilometers on the clock isn't even halfway through its life. Now you got to remember the cars going to the wreckers now were built in the 90s or maybe the early 2000s. So cars that are out today with the way that they're made, you should be able to get quite a few 100,000 kilometers out of a car before it needs to go to the wreckers. But you have to be dedicated to maintaining a vehicle and spending the money. When you start getting big repair bills, sometimes they say it's better just to get a more recent car or a new car and move on. So if you're buying a used car, so I think maybe what the question here is, if I'm looking for a used car, where should I stay clear of? When you get a car that's coming up to 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, there's a lot of regular maintenance items like I talked about, that $2,000 a year, the water pump, the fuel pump, lots of air conditioning, compressor, all kinds of little things that can go wrong. It's going to cost you money. And then once you get through that replacement cycle, the cars can be very reliable for a long period of time. So there's no straight answer. What you're looking for with a used car is the person who owned it, did they maintain it? So make sure you find a car that has all the repair records and you have a much better chance. Frank Ober is the next one. He says, it may be silly, what's your opinion of amber rear turn signals? I personally think there should be. It's a safety thing in my opinion. I think it's easier to distinguish a turn signal when amber than a red one. Basically, that's what he's getting at. Now in Europe, let me see if this, this Porsche up there doesn't show the turn signals. But in Europe, you have amber turn signals. And in Canada, you have red turn signals. Now, I own an older Porsche. What's interesting is the people in North America want the amber turn signals, and the people in Europe that have the amber turn signals want the red ones that we have in North America. And often they'll trade them. So the red turn signals are mandated. In Europe, the amber turn signals are mandated. And here's the thing, I don't even notice the difference, to be honest with you. It might be because I'm colorblind. I don't really notice a big difference. The lights come on, the lights flash, that's all I really care about. Here's something, it scares a lot of people when I tell them this. When I'm driving down the road, because I'm colorblind, I don't see a green light. All I see is another light, looks like a white light to me. It's the same color as the street lights. So when I'm driving along, I'm looking for the three lights, the red, the amber, and the green. So if the bottom one's lit up, I'm ready to go. But I don't see it as green. I see it as white. So it really comes down to what you're used to. And I've lived that way my whole life, so I don't really even think about whether it's green or not. It doesn't look green to me. So amber, red, it's all personal taste. I don't think it is a safety feature. We're all used to it in North America, seeing red ones. So buy a European car, ship it over here with the amber lights. This one comes from Young Q Kang. It says, "Hey Zach, big fan of yours. Been watching your show way back when Dagmar was the co-host on Driving Television, my first co-host on Driving TV 12 years ago. Since I found your YouTube channel, I watch your videos all the time. Here's my question to you. I'm a recent university grad looking for a mid-sized car. My price range is $25,000 to $35,000 without taxes and fees, so that's the price he wants to pay for the car. I prefer a sporty riding car. I carry 2 to 3 passengers often. I test drove the Mazda 6 GT, the Honda Accord Touring with the 4-cylinder engine. The Honda's on the top of my list, but after watching your Acura ILX review that I just did this week, I realized for a Honda Accord Touring money, I could get a small luxury car like the ILX. What do you think? Should I trade space for luxury? Is the ILX a big step up from the Accord in terms of luxury? Thanks in advance, and keep up the great work." Well, the one thing I'll say about the ILX is an Acura built on the Honda Civic platform. Okay, Honda Civic is the best-selling car in Canada. It has been for almost 20 years. So they take the Civic and they turn it into an Acura. Now, for people who are watching in the United States, this has been going on in Canada for a long, long time. We had what was called the Acura EL, then they changed it to the CSX. These cars were not available in the US market, only in Canada. Then when they brought out the ILX, they introduced it into the US, and we have that car obviously here. They just did a refresh. Watch the video, as I mentioned, just came out this week, of the 2016 model with the updated headlights and what have you. So that is a very, very popular car because it's based on the most popular car sold in Canada. So you get a lot of nice things with the ILX over the Civic. You can get leather seats. That's a $32,000 trim level with the premium package is the one to get. You get heated seats. You get some nice features. It comes standard with Acura and Honda's advanced safety, forward collision warning system, and all of those things. But you can also get all of those things in the Honda Accord, which is a bigger car. And the difference between the Accord and this ILX really comes down to trim and refinement, because you can get a lot of the same features and it's on a bigger platform. The biggest differentiator would be the ILX, I think, is going to feel a little bit more nimble because it's smaller, and it doesn't have the continuously variable transmission. You're looking at the 4-cylinder in the top touring model of the Honda Accord. That comes with a continuously variable transmission. This ILX, however, comes with the new 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission with the same 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine with a little bit more horsepower at 201 horsepower. So, you know, you're a young guy just out of university. You know, the ILX is not small. The Civic is a roomy car. It's got plenty of room in the back seat. The Accord is going to sort of feel like it's a little bit of an older person's car. So if you can afford an ILX, try and get that premium for $32,000. It's a much more rewarding car because it's smaller, it's more nimble. You're carrying a couple of friends with you in the car. There's more than enough room for all of you in there. You're going to get all the luxury goodies. You're going to get leather seats. You're going to get all of the advanced safety features, the communications, all of that kind of stuff. And you're going to be a little bit hipper than driving around in a good old Accord. There's nothing wrong with the Accord. I just think for a guy at a university, come on, you want something a little more cool than that. The next one comes from Hung Ta. He says, "I just watched one of your videos and you mentioned Buicks as being reliable, dependable, and quality vehicles based on studies and surveys. Do you have any validity to these surveys, considering Buicks are essentially rebadged General Motors products built in the same assembly lines and factories?" All right, this was somebody that I think in the last video blog was asking for a large, comfortable, very quiet and smooth and reliable car that he could buy used up to $35,000, and he is in Toronto driving around doing sales calls. And I mentioned, he actually asked me about the Buick LaCrosse, and I mentioned the LaCrosse is an excellent product because they're excellent value in the used market, and Buick has one of the best dependabilities in the auto industry. And here is the validity to back up that claim. This is, now I got this quote from USA Today, so I'm going to reference USA Today, but it's talking about the Consumer Reports study that came out just earlier this year. Buick, it goes on, quote, "Buick became the first domestic name to break into the top 10 of Consumer Reports' annual list of auto brands. Overall, it was a good reliability report card for General Motors and Toyota." Then you go over to J.D. Power and Associates, their dependability study, which is a survey of 12 months of vehicles that are 3 years old, very similar to the Consumer Reports, but they don't do, see, Consumer Reports does the people that subscribe to them. JD Power just does random people, and I like the JD Power one more. I always think there's a bit of an agenda with Consumer Reports. I'm not going to get into that now, but JD Power, here we go. This is a quote from their website. It shouldn't surprise anyone, but Lexus has once again taken the top spot, same as Consumer Reports. And that's the vehicle dependability study, 3-year-old vehicles. That'll be the Japanese luxury brand's 4th straight year at the top of the table. Big news is, though, the rise of Buick. General Motors' near premium brand beat out Toyota to take the 2nd place with 110 problems per 100 vehicles compared to Toyota's 111. Lexus owners, by the way, reported 89 problems. So, am I wrong? No. Buick is a very good brand. Now, why is this? You've got to remember one thing about the auto industry. Cars are made in different factories. You have to also look, and that's one thing that JD Power does very nicely, is they show you the factories that get the top ratings. And if you look at the factories that have the least number of problems, obviously the cars are as well. So I would suggest that maybe the Buick factories have higher dependability and quality scores than some of the other General Motors factories. But it also reiterates what I've been saying about General Motors, is General Motors knows how to make some very good cars. Buick's right near the top, and it depends. Buick's right near the very top in terms of dependability. So is Cadillac, and a lot of their cars are actually above the industry average. So there you go. The domestics do know how to make quality cars. Not all of them, but some of them. That's it for this week's video blog. Once again, Facebook, go to Motormouth Canada. Make sure you like it and ask a question, and I'll see you next time.